Hi guys, how you doing today? I hope you're doing well wherever you're watching from this episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. Today is 8th November 2025, a couple of days away from 2026. Ochari Muramu? Yes, of course you are. You would not be watching this. And so the fact that you're watching this episode, chitegezo inamo koka sente. Abata ina sente baina data. Ate era abavu tebalina we bagenda ku wifi ne babakkiriza. Bamwita kazi we kapo yagamba nti omwavu bakulengera ne bagato ojja kuyingira ngato sana kuba ku wifi waabwe. So the fact nebo bato ina sene ngoli ku wifi oba wa ku mulimu oba ku apartment oba wa mukwano go ira toli mwavu. So let's go back in history a bit. 1909, the fastest speed ever driven by a person by a car was driven by Victor Henry in a car called Blitzen Benz. It was in Brooklands in the UK. He drove a speed of 202.7 kilometers per hour. Now, he's not the record holder as of now. It was broken later, and I'm going to tell you that. But he was the first person to ever do more than 200 kilometers per hour. Now, his record was broken by someone else in 1910 called Barney Oldfield. He was driving the same car called a Blitzen Benz. Now, this driver was in the USA Daytona Beach. He was doing 211.9 kilometers per hour. Now, he wasn't the last person. There was another person in 1925 called Malcolm Campbell. He was driving a different car. Now, this time, this guy was driving a Bluebird, Sunbeam Bluebird. He was doing 242.8 kilometers per hour. He's also in the UK, the place called Pedine Sands. 200 and 200 in Zivuga. What's the highest speed you have done? 120. Tosukanga. Nze nali nkozeko 16. Ate no watch it and you're driving, goba tomanyi nti oli mukufa. Oba tomanyi oba onyumirwa bunyumirwa naye nakikola ku gundi kweyo stretch nakasongole eyo. Waliwo wawomere mmoroka nali nkikoze kati nze 240 nange nze naddala nga tuli ewantu ewali track nga buli omu akimanyi ndi ku speed teri agenda ku blockinga. Kuba ebiseera ebisinga, the thing that kills people when they're overspeeding is not the overspeeding, it's the obstacles. Welcome to the weekly roundup.
And now we roll from dusty roads to dreams we patrol. Review steps, we break it down, helping every driver in the town. For the love of cars, Uganda.
There is an 8-year-old pupil. How do they say that word? Pupil. They should have chosen another word. So 1 died and 2 were injured in a taxi when a taxi rammed into the school children in Mayuge, and this was in a place called Minor Village of Mpugwe sub-county, Mayuge district. It was on 31st October 2025. So the guy who was driving, Yabadavaga Namayingo, he was going towards Mayuge, and he swerved, yeah? And the vehicle and of course the deceased was called Motesi Hasfa, 8 years old, a pupil at Minor Primary School, and the other 2 injured kids were called Kaduli Hassan, 10, and then Ikedeza Izulukan. So bonabona babira mu kifo kyekimu. The driver ran away. The car was impounded like always. Every time the driver causes an accident like that, they run away. And of course, it's possible that the owner of the car doesn't know who was driving the car. And when you give away your car, guys, let it be to a taxi driver. You give away your border to someone. Have a copy of their national ID at least, their permit at least, so that when they ask who was driving this, go chiwai, because sometimes singa mateka gabaga kola baba genda kuno nayo bakunonenga na nyine moroka atosa suiro musango so nga atoba gamba bugami ono muntu yabadde avuga moroka. May the souls of the kid that died rest in peace. Ate ne bana abalumiziddwa mukama abasuuse. And then of course there is a bus company called Nile Star Blue Buses, you know. So they have operated. They what they did is they suspended services after they had road crashes, multiple road crashes by their buses. Yeah, so they had, like, on Wednesday they had a crash, on Thursday they had another crash. And they said, you know what, let's just stop having these trips. Let's go to it because there seemed to be something wrong. Yeah. And then of course they do one of the long distance travelers, yeah, the long distance trips, yeah. Baba avuga Kampala Arua. What are you going to Karua? What are you going to Karua? Bavugira Bangachi. That's far. And I'm thinking they overspeed. Bosimbra sawe mu eyokumacha mtuka mmeka. It's already good. Yeah, that's really far. So what happened is they suspended starting November 6th, and that's because on Wednesday, November 5th, on the Karuma Bridge, the Nelstar bus overturned. The driver swerved to avoid the border, like always, and suddenly crossed the highway. And then, of course, a day later, Thursday, 2 Nelstar buses were involved in separate accidents near Wobulenzi in the Luwero district, yeah, and then another one was in Ladonga in Yombe district. So, and then the company just said, let's shut this down. Let's go back and regroup and retrain and see what's really going wrong. Because Webanga bus company yemu yefune visible. There are two possibilities. Chisobola okuba nga ba makanika emuruka bazikora bubi. It's possible, but driver babarozi. Council yatugamba takkiriza mu ddogo, but it's possible. It's also possible that nanyini bus yanyiza bakamabe. Andi batugamba oli mugagga abayina gwasaddaase. Kati asobola okuba nga yanyiza bakamabe nga bamala batwala byabwe. So, but they regroup. They say they're going to retrain their drivers. They're going to also talk to the authorities. Babagambe bae. Banga bus accident bezisokkae. Chibange planning. So I wish these guys luck.
For the love of cause Uganda we roll.
And then of course the Ministry of Works shut down a section of the road, yeah. But it's a temporary closure. So they closed the Mbarara Ishaka part of Mbarara Ishaka highway because Enkuba inakuzinombi. Yeah, Enkuba inakuzinombi. So on Thursday 6th, that's when they closed it. And the decision came after engineers from the roads company over the, I don't even want to call it the roads authority because now Minister of Works here, they conducted emergency assessments and found that severe erosion, potholes and culverts washout. Culverts, sibya binabinanka nibibabika fetu bitabita. Ebigoma nga bimenyese that can be causing. Minister of Works ekole ennaku zino bagezaako lwakuba ate nalabye ate enguudo ennungi ze bakadde baddaabiriza embizi baleme kalulu ate ennungi ze baddaabiriza kuba nalabye kira road lulungi nise bubaluzeemu kati wewe baddamu ki nga lw'enguudo embi ezibalemye. I don't know. Ku nguudo embi bagende mu kiteezi basooke bakole olw'ekiteezi naye olw'ekiteezi lubaleme bali ku kira road oba I don't know. So the Ministry of Works said emergency repair works will commence immediately. That's 6th, obviously. And then as they work on the drainage and then prepare the road. So motorists were also advised to use the alternative routes through Mitoma, Katete, Ntunga, Morukunjiri, while the heavy trucks were encouraged to divert via Kabale, Katunguru to ease congestion. So for the guys that are heading that side, again your side is there, so you know what to do. And then of course the Ministry of Works has warned us, the road users, the ones that drive themselves, of how the heavy rains are going to spoil roads. They have prepared emergency teams. So Engineer Bagaya Waiswa, the permanent secretary of the at the Ministry of Work, said the heavy rains have created dangerous driving conditions with multiple reports of vehicles getting stuck or overturned, due to washed out surfaces and poor visibility. So that they are assessing the damages and making sure that they work on. So if you're driving, guys, the Wobeda Express in Manyanti anytime from now, enkuba yennaku zino mbi esobola okutta ekkubo, so vuganga olimu ku magezi. Otherwise, your car might get spoiled or you might lose a limb or lose a life. So be safe. And then, of course, in the Bronx, in the US, you have a barapa bamwe. So what happened, someone just parked the car the way you park your car at Kampala Road. There was someone smoking there. The person was smoking, threw a cigarette. I think the car had a leakage. That's in the Bronx. So, and then of course, there were 7 firefighters that got injured, yeah? 2 of them remain hospitalized and stable. Witnesses described the fire as a sudden and powerful. One passerby called 911. If you want to 911, you have one. Akutama zinozikiza tasinga. Esibe inzo bayeweddeko omuliro. Babuuza ebibuuzo bingi nga tekina kikuyamba. So, and a nearby employee attributed part of the danger to accumulated trash, saying sanitation delays led to the piles of debris near the scene. And of course, empapula wezibera nyingi akabiti kasobola kwata sigala asobola kwata ate nayo kyebintu. And then they said the fire's origin was the cigarette which ignited the trash and then the vehicle. The fire chief of the department, Bamita John Esposito, gwe aba Mexican nga beyagadde mu America. Esposito katina chief of department. So he posted on his X handle urging all New Yorkers to fully extinguish cigarettes before discarding them. The car was removed the next morning and of course the owner lost it. Obadde okimanyi nti mu New York kati the mayor there musajja waffe wa wano yali arapinga n'okurapinga. Ba artist tugenda twevaamu. Ate mu na Uganda. Naye gwe taata we kati agenda kuli eswaga. Stella Nyanzi nga yavuma Mamudani. You guys don't. Stella Nyanzi abused Mamudani. Mamudani nze nga ndaba nga naye Mamudani mutabani we kati mayor we New York. Of course even Mamudani is not a joke. He's a don. But do you know what it means for your son to be mayor? Kati gwe nofuuka mayor wano. Mzee Kagwa inzo tamula katalinya ku ttaka. Wala ne bofuuka mayor wa Wakiso. Atandika okutamula nga talinya ku ttaka. Kati gwe kubanga fanya mutabani wafuuse mayor we New York omusiraamu muyindi munna Uganda naye nga bamuwadde akalulu. Nsobola ntano tsobola omuyambako. Tsobola omuyambako n'ava mu mbeera embi. So anyway, but congrats to the Mamdani family. Mwafunyeyo mayor. I'm saying this name thinking that wanaba mu search results ne Arthur yakwogeddeko. Natandika obwabadayo nga auto shows eyo n'atuyita ne team yaffe nga mayor kuba naye bagambe Haji Elias Lukwago abeera n'ensako y'okugabira ku batalina mwasirizi milioni 5 buli mwaka. Temunabiwulira. Kakiteeza ne Mamudani naye alina ensako zagabirako abatalina. Tazogerako mbu ali andi. Tetubyogerako bajja katulanyisa omulodi. Naye babyogedde ate tannabyewakana. Zirayika zibeerawo. Kakiteeza ne Mamudani naye akasente akaleeta abantu ab'omukyalo e Uganda bajje bamukyalireko. Kati abaana baatu tanatwala ate Oluganda alumanyi. Anyway, congrats to the Mamdani family, and I wish luck to all the contestants in the Kampala mayoral race.
Reviews teams, we break it down, helping every driver in the town.
And then, of course, in Singapore, there is a student at from the National University of Singapore called Benjamin Chia Yit Long that has been fined with $3,000 after admitting to a charge of a mischief of unscrewing tire valves and inserting green bins into the tires of several vehicles, mainly the SUVs, in a 2-hour operation in Woodlands. So what happened? Ono guy, I think he's an environmental advocate. Kati yagamba mbitu byazaasomako ne byazaalabalabako ku environment. Emmoroka zino SUV oba emmoroka zonna generally zoonona environment. Kati ataasa. And then of course he says that he was influenced by a university module that critiqued individual action in a climate response and by online material advocating for DIY tire deflation of SUVs. And then of course yasasuddeko already omuntu omu. So kati ebintu byetula ku internet bi-influencing abantu bangi kati oyo naye yagenze n'aga kati katukole campaign okitegeera. And nga kyakola ajjamu obutima, he would remove the valves akatima k'omupiira. Kati omupiira guba gutandika okugwamu omukana n'asonsekayo ekijanjaalo. Okitegeera n'agenda ng'abikola ku mipiira mingi. Kati gwe bw'osimbula because ekitanjanjaalo tekyakolebwa ku handling that pressure oluvuga nga ekijanjaalo kivaamu ng'omupiira gugwamu omukka. Ogenda okujja tolina butima. Ate oba okyasobola ogivuga oba okyasobola okwonoona environment. abazungu balina ebizo, of course n'abasingapo kati nabo balinga abazungu. Fe wano okwekalakaasa offe kuba kwakwono nakyola bwe beekalakaasa baagala kugenda kubba bintu mu maduuka, kukuba bantu miggo. Fe okwekalakaasa kwaffe engeri gye baatukuba ennyondooza nga tukula, naffe tuba twagala naffe tulumye. Anyway, that's what happened in Singapore.
Break it down, helping every drummer in the town.
And then, of course, a museum in France is selling 50 cars that were used in movies and TV shows. Yeah. Now, and they have no reserve. Gwe sente zoyina zoteekayo. Zobaganzi no nze bagenda kukola no sente. So they have cars from TV shows like from films majorly. Transformers, Bumblebee, Fast and Furious. They have Robocop. Which take Happy Goes to Monte Carlo. Ghostbusters. Okitegera ambasomere ku motoka bagenda kutunda emotoka yona gye bayita Chevrolet Stallion Style Line Station Wagon yalimu amusement park, bayina Volkswagen Beetle, bagenda kutunda Cadillac Series 75 ambulance yalimu Ghostbusters. They are going to sell the Chevrolet Monte Carlo yalimu Tokyo Drift. They are going to sell the Plymouth Barracuda yalimu Fast and Furious 7. They are going to sell Bumblebee from Transformers, Renault Fuego, Ford Mustang, Peugeot 407. They have a replica, Taxi 5, bagenda kutunda BMW 550i ya 2008 kitegezo kyasolo jija ino girete Kampala. In John Wick bagenda nayo gitunda. And then, of course, a bunch of cars, 50 cars. You can go ahead and Google and find out which cars they are selling. For you guys that have money, for us that don't have money, we'll wait for you to bring it locally and then we'll review it. Akarowoozo k'olunaku. Well, guys, don't argue with border men. Me, I've just realized that border batusuubira okubategeerera, twetegeere ne family zaffe, nabo tubategeerere ne family zaabwe. So don't argue. Find the border man ng'akola ebyekigwagwa. Break, let him go. Naimara agende. Every time you argue with a border guy, nobody looks as ugly as a border guy. Ng'akoze ebyekisiru ate n'akutunuulira nga gwali ng'akoze ebyekisiru. Omutwe gulina engeri gye gufaananamu nga guweta guti. Nze sibategeera. So don't argue with a border guy. And the tip of the week is don't rush in rough roads. Mukulu chichi, lwaki onnumba. Ebiseera emi it's inevitable, but even when it's inevitable, bw'oba vuga ku kkubo ly'ettaka oba ekkubo ebbi, topapa, tolina kikuddusa. Vuga mpola paka bw'onootuuka gy'olaga, because ebiseera ebimu those rough roads will kill shock absorbers, will kill bushes, sometimes they'll even kill your crankcases. Ojja kwonoona suspension yo n'ogyonoona. Ate ago amakubo ag'ettaka ge gasinga okuroolingirako emmotoka. Someone I know yarolling emmotoka n'agamba tewabadde hump, tewabadde jjinja, naye oluyinja lunsise. So don't rush, man. Vuga mpola naddala ng'oli ku kkubo eryebbi. Ne ku express nako genda mpola. Naye amakubo amabi ago mugendereze galiko n'abalogo. Jasanga oli yanaabye eddagala liri mu kataasa, ojja opapa, omuzimu gubadde gukyaliwo gwe yeegobyeko gukutte.
For the love of cause Uganda we roll.
And today's comparison, let's compare a black interior car and a bajita cream interior car. Let's just make, because yesterday I did an inspection for a lady that we ended up buying an Alphard, a Toyota Alphard. And we saw a Toyota Alphard which had a black interior, which was being sold at 15 million shillings, UBE. Then we saw another Alphard which had a cream interior, which was sold at 19 finally to her. 15, 19. 15, 19. She said the black interior Alphard was dirty. She did not like it just by looking at it. Personally, with my experience, the black interior Alphard was actually very good. It was priced very well. The 19 million Alphard, the one that is cream, was also not bad. It looked really good, but I find that it was a bit overpriced. We bought it eventually because it's what she wanted. But when you're going to go buy a car, you need to think practicability. What am I going to use this car for? Based on what she's going to use the car for, I would have bought the black interior. But, yagara chidi. Don't be biased by how beautiful the interior of your car looks. Very soon it won't make any sense. Gule moroka, think of the practicability other than the beauty. yes ebinyiriro obyagala birabika obulungi obyagala, but always practicability. Would you have bought the Alphard at 19 olw'okuba enyirira, or would you have bought the Alphard at 15 eya bbulaaka? Omanyi bbulaaka olumu alabika nga ddugala, omanyi oyo bbulaaka oyo abeera nga atatukula bulungi oyo. Emmotoka ya 15 omukyala yagigobye n'agamba yayagala eno eya cream yemulabikidde obulungi. Just like that, million nyane zeyongera mu mmoroka. Mukama abawo omukisa. Thank you very much for being part of this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. Don't forget, we have a live broadcast every day, Monday to Friday, 7:40 a.m., Saturday, 5:15 p.m., Sunday, 5:15 p.m. We have a Chimeza Chemoroka Ngabulijo every Friday, 7 p.m. The Car Weekly Roundup Ngabulijo, a Twitter uploading a Saturday. And follow our new programs that are going to be bringing to you, like the road trip. Mwaji's program. The road trip. Yeah? Behind the wheels, yes. It's going to be coming soon. Don't forget, I do pre-purchase inspection in case you're buying a car. I'm your guardian angel. I help you make the right decision by buying the right car for your budget. I come with a mechanic. And together we make sure that we buy the best car for your budget. I charge a small fee, 450,000 shillings, for a full day of inspection in the Kampala Central Business District. We do everything from computerized check, engine check, transmission check, chassis check, aesthetics, and of course paperwork. May the good Lord bless you.